Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wind here for the Bier Fest Tournament in Golf Clash. The game video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, make sure that you do hit that thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can take the next step in the game by getting our ultimate tournament guides or our exclusive tour text guides on Patreon. Link to our guides and Patreon are directly in the description down below. As always, you can follow my adjustments along by following the info box on the right hand side to see the club, the ball that I do suggest to use, but also the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment that I also suggest you to use. But have in mind, you play in whatever way you like. These are only suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to. But I always have a plan with the adjustments that I do suggest. So let's go to hole number 1. So for hole number 1, we are going to play straight down the fairway on the right hand side. Why is that? It's because any other type of drive is going to be very difficult to do correctly without then getting in trouble being behind a tree or, you know, a rock or something like that. So add all the spin that you can. All the top spin and also a little bit of right spin, ball guideline straight down the fairway, adjust max plus 20, and when it comes to the shot here, even if you have tailwind, crosswind or headwind, you shall always go max overpower. Obviously when it comes to headwind, it's going to be tough to get the distance correct all the time, especially with very low level type of drivers. Second shot, we're gonna play with a long iron, and here comes the side spin 3 to be very valuable, especially if you do have some headwind of tee. You could, if you do have a very good ball guideline, try to utilize the slope on the green to roll it up and fall back down, but that's going to only be with high level clubs such as Grizzly or B52. So when we do have a scenario like this here now, we use all the side spin, the three left spin, and also a decent amount of backspin. Ball guideline slightly short because the backbone 9 does not deliver a fully developed ball guideline. 10% elevation through distance, meaning that you check where maximum distance are and you check where minimum distance are to judge what type of distance of your club you're in. Even though the tree stands very, very dangerously, you shouldn't have any problems with that. But have in mind though that if you're not having the side spin 3 and you might have an even shorter drive, you might get yourself into a big problem when it comes to the tree there. In my opinion, hole number 1 is much tougher play from front tee than what it is from second or third tee, because we don't have better clubs than what we have in Rookie. Obviously, if you do have higher level clubs, you can play it a little bit more aggressive. You can also take advantage of the downslope on the green, which you will notice in my playthrough for Pro and Expert is absolutely money, but it does require a good ball guideline. Hole number 2 offers one of the better opportunities that we do have to get a hole-in-one frequently, and the reason for that is the massive funnel we do have by bouncing into the rough. 3 side spin to the right here, and then we're looking to use the ball guideline. You can see that even if the target is moved left or right, the ball guideline is still stuck. And what that means in Golf Clash terms is that it's called a funnel. And we always love to play into a funnel because it gives us margin of error in terms of getting the drop. And this is a par 3, which is a very common drop when it comes to all divisions. And even though it may sound and look scary to play this rough bump from such a high elevated tee box, it's still going to be the shot that you will have to do, because bouncing on the fairway is going to just equal a birdie. And fine, you know, if you just want to have a birdie here and no chance for an hole-in-one, or a very little chance for a hole-in-one, bounce on the fairway. But here I want to present to you the best way to get a drop, and the rough bump is the best way to get a drop. The adjustment here in the video is minimum distance with a 30% over adjustment power 2 ball settings. But have in mind that that can obviously change depending on what type of wind angle you are having. So hole number 2 offers a lovely chance for an hole-in-one. For hole number 3, we are going to play on the left hand side, and this is not so common, and that's why I wanted to really stress that here in the beginning. So I'm gonna use 4.5 bar topspin, and we're gonna use 2 bars of left spin. The target, as you can see here now, we are going to aim very close to the left hand side with our extra mile. I'm gonna use the inner ring to the left by the rough line. You can also see that the yellow ring is there by the sand trap line. The ball guideline looks like it will be going into the rough, but we will be using curl to prevent that from happening. The reason we want to play on the left hand side and not straight forward is because we do want to take advantage of an open fairway that we do have from the left to try to use then our sniper towards the pin. If you do have a headwind, we do recommend to play with a kingmaker here. If we do have a crosswind or a tailwind, I would say a titan will be enough. But please be aware of a great left that might be trouble. Obviously, if you do want to just take a very safe route to getting the getting the eagle, then you go straight forward off tee. But this is an interesting look that becomes when it comes to the albatross. Now, second shot, we're going to be somewhere between medium and maximum distance of our club. And here I would like us to check where max distance are and then where minimum distance are, and then apply spin. Ball guideline to be just short of hole. And you can see that the Sniper 9 may be, depending on what you have in your bag, a little bit too high upgraded club. But have in mind that as we're not close to max distance here, we can play this shot with as low as Sniper level 7. And the reason I say Sniper level 7 and not Sniper 6 or 5 is because Sniper level 7 does have the 4.5 ball guideline, which we honestly want to have here. 10% elevation for this shot, true distance number, and used 1.5 bar of backspin. You can see the ball bounces nicely on the fairway up towards the green and then roll right that pin for a beautiful albatross here on hole number 3. For hole number 4, this is going to be a tough par 3, especially due to the fact that we're going to have the ball bounce a couple of times before it rolls towards the green. I would say that this is going to be the toughest of the Eagle Peak to get an hole-in-one at. Max side spin to the right, and here there's a lot of value in my opinion to play with a side spin 3 ball called a katana. This so you can move yourself away from the rough, so you don't play with such a risk is what I'm trying to say. Red ring by the rough line, and I'm using a little bit of topspin, 1.5 bar. Adjust max plus 10, and as you could see there with the ball guideline position, you can see that the ball guideline we're aiming left of pin. That's because we do not have a fully developed ball guideline when it comes to our backbone, so we do need to aim left because obviously the side spin will push the ball right. If we would have aimed a little bit more left with our target, then we might have an hole-in-one. But again, this is going to be a tough par 3 where those of you that do have the possibility to play with a Grizzly level 7 or better will have a massive advantage here, because then you will have a good ball guideline all the way and you don't have to guess as much as we have to do when playing with the backbone. For hole number 5, it's time to pull out the Berserker or any other power 5 ball you may have, because here we are going for green. In tailwind and crosswind, I would say getting to green is very likely, but if you do have a headwind, we're gonna talk about that in the end, because it will most likely give you a slightly different outcome. 4.5 bar topspin, 2 right spin. Stretch out your target so you can see the ball guideline pointing towards falling down the hill, or like falling down into the rough there at the end of the video. Adjust max no elevation. Push up to max once you are done. Apply outside wall curl to the right and a little bit of overpower, in this case 2 rings. Obviously the overpower will vary depending on what angle you're having, but I would say like this: if you have a tailwind, then 2 rings of overpower is perfect. If you do have a crosswind, I would recommend to go absolute max. If you do have a headwind, also absolute max. You can see that the ball got through the rough, lovely, rolled down towards the green for a simple putt here for an eagle. Have in mind though that when we are bouncing on the fairway, trying to roll down a thick amount of rough, then you need to have in mind that the outcome will slightly vary from time to time, and there is no really explanation to it more than that it is inconsistent, and there is a lot of moving parts for the ball to go through on its way to its home. So have that in mind, and when it comes to headwind, we will go max overpower, we will roll down the hill, but we will not reach towards the green. So what's going to happen then is that you will in that case have a wedge towards the pin, and the wedge there is going to be simple, it's going to be just by the green, so it's still going to be an eagle, but just wanted to explain it to you so you know what outcome is going to be. For hole number 6, there is tons of value in getting able to get to the fairway island that is there at the top. And I would recommend to play with a big topper, even if you do have it in a lower level. Sure, that may be the case of using a decent amount of overpower if you're using a level 1 or level 2, but in the end, all the topspin here is gonna help us bouncing, and then bouncing, so you do a double bounce before the rough to get over the rough completely and end up on the fairway. If that's not a possibility for you, let's say that you don't have the big topper unlocked at all, then you will have to play up to the right, and then that shot is gonna be insane amount of more difficult than what this shot is here that we're doing. Max plus 20 is what we are doing here for the drive. Second shot, we are going to go for a rough bump, and here it doesn't really matter what level of sniper you have. Use the sniper, because we do want to have its accuracy, we do want to have its ball guideline, and in this case I'm having spin to pin. I would recommend that when you do have a little headwind, as I'm having here now, add a little bit more topspin to have the ball guideline through the hole. The mistake I'm doing here now is that I'm using no elevation for this shot, but I would like you to play with minus 10%. Why? It's because this shot actually plays uphill, so when I'm using no elevation instead, I become over adjusted and I miss to the left. In my opinion, this is the best chance we can get on hole number 6 to make an albatross, but I would say that this albatross is not going to be as easily managed as it may look, so be careful with the drive first and foremost, and then on the second shot make sure that you do adjust in an accurate way and think about how you position the ball guideline based on the wind angle you're having. Hole number 7 offers a decent chance for a hole-in-one in my opinion. What we would like to do here is to play straightforward basically. I want us to play with a Goliath because the Goliath offers a good amount of curl already from early stages. Using the bottom of the red ring by the rough line, and then we're using some backspin and also 3 bars of side spin to the right. So here a Katana or a Kingmaker is the ball for you to use. Max plus 15 power 2 ball settings, and then we do we make the adjustment, then we're gonna apply curl. So I'm using 0.8 ball of curl to the right. Try to hit perfect, and the idea here now is for having the ball to bounce before the green up on the top right of the green to then fall down towards the pin. And you can see that the further up you are on the green, the easier it will be for the ball to roll down, or at least having the speed enough to roll down towards the pin. And that is something that you will have to do, because if doing like I'm doing there, which is that I'm using a little bit too much backspin, then what will happen is that you go short in line and then you're gonna be sad. Hole number 8, and we're going to go for green here, as we do not really have a club with a lot of curl, and also for that matter side spin when it comes to a ball. I don't really like to use that, so what I'm gonna do here is that I'm going to use a power 0 ball. which is going to be a Marlin. The reason I'm going to use a Marlin here is to make sure that I'm not going to go in between clubs when it comes to my big topper. So I'm going to take a shortcut to get the ball down the hill. Even though it looks scary when it comes to playing in between the two trees, I would say that you should still try to play that way regardless. Because if you're trying to lay up on the hill on the right, then you're gonna have such a such a hard short iron to even get remotely close to getting an eagle. So playing in between the trees will help you get down the hill, and it would help you give you a very short wedge towards the pin, and that one will equal, or like will give you the best possible chance to make an eagle. Obviously, when it comes to the wedge, it's always better to have a wedge with a good ball guideline. If you do have a crappy ball guideline like I'm having here now, make sure to leave the ball guideline short, or you will come in too hot and bounce out again. So again, the big topper is a perfect club even in the lowest level, such as level 1, as it does have all the topspin. So add all the topspin, aim in between the trees, make sure that the second bounce hit the rough, adjust minimum distance plus 10% for the shot, and you will see yourself having great success on this hole. Obviously, a bad great left or a bad great right will always have a chance or a risk to clip the tree, but you will never be in a position where you won't be having a shot towards the pin for a safe birdie, because, you know, in the end, laying up on the right side or the left side will still be laying up for a safe birdie. Then I'd rather take a little bit higher risk with the knowledge of, if I do my shot well, then I do have a locked-in eagle. But if I do make a crappy drive, then I will still have a birdie, regardless. For hole number 9, we are actually going to play on the right-hand side using our quarterbacks. We start in complete max distance with the quarterback level 7. 2 backspin, 2 left spin. And I'm using the red ring there by the rough line. You can see that I changed a little bit, so we got in the end 2.5 bar backspin instead of 2. The reason for that was that I noticed that we do have a tailwind, so I needed to make sure that we're not gonna roll too far on the drive. Max plus 10 is what I'm using here. And once that is done, I shall apply a little bit of curl, as I'm not using a ball with side spin 3. Then I will have to use a little bit of curl to prevent myself from going into the rough on the right. What I would like to have in mind here, though, is that if you do play with the quarterback level 9 or 10, you will have 5 yards extra power compared to a quarterback level 7 or level 8. So if that's going to be the case, then you need to back up 5 yards away from max distance to try to replicate this shot. If you don't, then you will go long and you will roll into the rough. Second shot, you can see that I play with the horizon. And what I would like you to do here is to play with a sniper if you have it in level 9 or better. And the reason I want you to do that is because it has, at least compared to the horizon level 4, it has a better ball guideline. It also has a better accuracy, which will help you if you do hit great. Because my idea here now is to use my wood club with topspin to roll it just past the pin up towards the hill to fall back down towards the pin for an albatross. I know it's not as easy as it sounds, but this is actually a pretty decent opportunity in my opinion. Perfect ball with the horizon is always helpful, as the accuracy is absolute crap. And you can see it rolls, and it rolls up the hill here to fall down towards the pin. Now again, we are not getting this one to drop, but you can see how close it is. And, you know, to maybe be a bit harsh here towards myself, but the topspin was a little bit too much. 4.5 bar topspin would be perfect in a scenario like this. So apply the technique and the trick that I taught you here for hole number 9, and you will see yourself getting close to an albatross every single time. And if you are lucky, you might have an albatross on your scorecard. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wins here for the Bier Fest Tournament in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure to take yourself to the next level in this game by getting our ultimate tournament guides or our exclusive tour guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link is in the description down below. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.